Namaskar, good morning, and welcome to the masterclass series of Being Future Ready. This is, of course, a joint initiative from Vadhvani Institute of Technology and Policy, as well as IIM Bangalore. Venkatesh, can we go to the next slide? So we welcome you today for the 8th session in our masterclass series. We started this series from October of 2022. And today's session is about enhancing citizen access, the imperative of digital platforms and online services for safe, efficient, and seamless government services. My name is Purobhi Mitra. I'm from WITP, and I welcome you as one of our hosts for this masterclass session. As some of you did take a look at the agenda, let's quickly take a look at what's coming up for all of us. We'll start with a very quick, succinct introduction from IIM Bangalore, the CSITM team, followed by an intro to WITP. We'll obviously look at the opportunity to earn a certificate through these masterclass sessions. And of course, without much waiting, we will look at a quick introduction for our guest today. This masterclass will be divided into two parts, where we will have our guest speaker for today talk and have a discussion around this particular topic. We will invite all your questions so that you can write these questions in the chat or in the Q&A section of the Zoom platform. Please feel free to write them while the masterclass is in commencement. We will collect those questions, and those questions will be moderated through our moderator for the day, Sri Prakash Kumar. So without much further ado, I give it to Venkatesh to introduce the IIM Bangalore CSITM team.
Morning, everybody. So on behalf of IIM Bangalore and CSITM, it is our pleasure to welcome the Vadhvani team, the speaker of today, Professor Sadagopan, Prakashji, Purabhi, and the entire Vadhvani team, and all the participants for today's program. We are really excited to have this with Professor Sadagopan, and I'm sure all of you would know him, and we are associated with him in multiple ways. He has been a professor here, and we also have been conducting many events, such as the large ones of the software product management, for which he has been a chair for multiple years. And as you all know, CSITM is a center that has been in existence for 25 years now, and it connects academia, government bodies, and all the industry people. And we conduct many events for the benefit of the researchers and also the government officials. And this is one of them. And we have had many successful events. And we are excited to have one more event today with Professor Sadagopan. And with that, I hand it back to Purabhi to take it forward.
Thank you very much, Venkatesh, for that introduction. Now I would like to invite Sri Prakash Kumar, the CEO for Vadhvani Institute of Technology and Policy, to give us a succinct intro to WITP. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Purbi. First of all, I would like to pay my gratitude to my professor, who has kindly agreed to address this masterclass. Vadhvani Institute of Technology and Policy is an initiative run by Vadhvani Foundation for skilling of bureaucrats, and our objective is to enable digital transformation that increases impact and outcomes from government's policies, initiatives, and programs. We have three pillars. One is Skilling Academy, where we conduct classroom training programs, and we have also started now keeping self-paced courses on government's LMS called e-Gov. The second one is we are setting up a lab which will be used as an experience center or executive briefing center come incubation center, where ideas generated during workshops or skilling training program which we do will be converted into POCs. And the third one vertical is where we work on policies especially related to data and technology. So these are the three things which we do, and we are in existence for last 2 years. In the first year of our existence, we trained around 2,000 government officers in classroom basis. And one of our self-paced program called Introduction to Emerging Technologies, kept on e-Gov, has already been subscribed by 31,000 officers, out of which 26,500 already completed it. So that's a small step from our side. And with this, I hand over to Purvi.
Thank you very much, sir, for that introduction to WITP. Venkatesh would request you to go to the next slide. We also would like to share with our viewers and attendees that upon attending 50% of all our masterclasses, a minimum of 50% of all our masterclasses, you clearly are ready to get awarded a certificate from IIM and CSITM and WITP. So without much further ado, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome and invite our guest for today's masterclass, none other than Professor S. Sadagopan, sir. He's the director for IIT Bangalore, and he was the founding director from 1999 and 2021. Currently, he's the chairman of the board of IIT Bangalore, Kanchipuram. He has an extensive teaching experience at institutions such as IIT Kanpur, IIM Bangalore, IIT Madras, IIT Bangalore, Rutgers University at USA, and AIT Bangkok at Thailand. Professor Sadagopan has diverse research interests, including operations, research, decision theory, multimedia, and e-governance. He has authored multiple books, chapters, papers, and is also a fellow at IEE in the UK and the Computer Society of India. Professor Sadagopan consults widely across various industries and delivers lectures globally on IT-related topics. He serves on the board of multiple organizations and is actively involved in various councils and committees such as the Karnataka Knowledge Commission and NASSCOM Regional Council. He writes extensively for the popular press as he is featured columnist for the Times of India, of course, the largest circulated newspaper in the world. And he's a graduate from Madras University, India, and Purdue University in the USA. Without much further ado, I welcome our Professor Sadagopan, sir, for the masterclass for today's session. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Purvi. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Professor Venkatesh. Thank you, Professor Shankdeep. Thanks, IIMB, and thanks, Vadvani Foundation. So the next 40 minutes, what I plan to do is something like this. I kind of specifically requested, now we are in the post-COVID world, to have a classroom setting. Instead of sitting before a monitor at home and giving the lecture, I am actually inside the classroom of IIMB. We have a couple of people who are also attending it physically. So this gives me a more natural setting. Okay. The second thing which I am doing is that instead of a monologue for 40 minutes, okay, before 20 minutes of Q&A, so we have broken it down into a series of question answer. So what I call Arjuna Vacha, Krishna Vacha. Okay. So Professor Venkatesh is going to quiz me a set of questions, and then I will keep answering. So this will kind of make it a little more interactive, you know, particularly watching from all over on the internet, sitting before a terminal. So something like this. This is what we have learned in the last 3 years of COVID time. So we have to do innovation in the classroom, particularly for online. So this is what we will do. So within my 40 minutes, 20 minutes, I will quickly take you through the e-governance over the years in the country. And I will kind of highlight, I'm not going to talk about everything because there are lots and lots of things that have been done. But I'm taking a few of them, string the story around. And in the next 20 minutes, I will talk about what are the takeaways. I know that so many of you are kind of logged in from all over the country. You are all implementing e-governance. We are the people who only talk, but you are the doers. So you actually have to know, you should have some takeaways as to what is that we can do with this. Okay, this is how it will be split. So let me start. Professor Venkatesh will ask me the first question. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Professor. So the first question we have is, you have been involved with e-governance applications for a very, very long time. We would like to hear from you, how did it all start?
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Professor Venkatesh. Okay, can I have the first slide, please? Yeah, you know, it's interesting that a lot of things have happened in this country, even in 50s and 60s. Particularly for many of you who are much younger, you may not know that Life Insurance Corporation and Indian Airlines, they actually had some of the best coders in a language called autocoder. Autocoder is not even a full-fledged programming language. It is a kind of sophisticated assembler, a set of assemblers. As per IBM, so IBM somewhere said some of the best autocoder coders happen to be people working for Indian Airlines. So we actually had thought of citizen-facing e-governance applications even way back in 50s and 60s. So this is something which I want people to know. And IBM 1401 was one of the cash cow for IBM in those days. So we used to have a machine called IBM 1401, and then we had something interesting. So it is not something which we just started only yesterday. It has been in our DNA for long. So I thought people should not miss that point. Thank you.
The second question, Professor, is you know that there was a magician who was building an amazing application called Impress in CMC Hyderabad. That is the R&D center of CMC Hyderabad. It's one of the applications that changed the face of citizen-centric computer application. Why do you believe so?
Okay, so that is interesting, Professor Venkatesh. You know, it's kind of nice to kind of get the memory back. You know, 1986, there was a company which many of you probably may not know called CMC, which was a public sector company that finally pulled into TCS today. And they had a beautiful R&D building in Hyderabad. And in that building, this whole thing got cooked. And we used to call Dr. P.P. Gupta as a magician because he was truly a legendary, because he could look ahead. What he did was, against a lot of professional wishes, lots of people thought that an application called Passenger Railway System, PRS, for a huge organization called Indian Railways. Indian Railways back then was running 21,000 pairs of trains every day. 21,000 pairs of trains every day. But that kind of a network, that we never had built such large systems. So everyone said you should import something from Canada, something from elsewhere, etc. But I think thanks to Dr. P.P. Gupta, we went alone, built the system. And unusual things we did, we actually wrote it on Fortran. We didn't have enough money, so we did not buy a DBMS. We essentially had a simple file processing system. But today, that system is now run by an organization which was born much later called Center for Railway Information System. And Chris runs it. It is one of the world's largest passenger reservation systems. And remember a few things which we had to do. We had to make it absolutely low cost. We couldn't afford laser printers. We had to get it done on dot matrix printers. Even on dot matrix printer, we wanted to save as much money as possible. A small little slip will be printed, multiple tickets on the one single row, so that we can save on cost. So we needed things that are reliable, that work any part of the country, and also very, very affordable. So dollar costs are a no-no. Rupee cost is a yes, preferably paisa cost. I think that is the message of railway reservation system, CMC. Thank you.
Sir, moving from railways to income tax. So why is the income tax department's computerization so important in your opinion?
Okay, so that is interesting. You know, sometimes we don't look at it in a particular way. Whether it is insurance or there is railway reservation or airline reservation, this is an option for a citizen. Paying taxes is not an option. It's a duty. Right? So it is a very fundamental difference between these two applications. So, and normally, most of the computer applications, you look at it globally, focused on the nice things to have, not the things that you must do. Income tax payment is a must to do. Okay? And normally, whenever people take up those systems, customer care, customer satisfaction, caring for the customer, etc., are the last priority, because you will dish out rules. But I think we should give credit to the income tax department, even though earlier days they were like this. In the last, I would say 20 years, they have dramatically changed. They listen to the customer, they make it easy, they make it accessible, they make it friendly, they make it multi-platform. You have an app, you have it on the internet, you can do it by paper. So all that they do, and they created something called 26AS so that they accumulate all of it. Okay, so I think they have come much closer to the customer. And let us also face it that this is one of the first applications where we have to do a performance monitoring. Because I think human beings are human beings. Doesn't matter which country, what age group, etc. We are, if we can postpone things, we postpone things. So most of the people file their income tax on the last day, that is typically July 31st, 30%. So obviously, you need to have performance where millions of people will simultaneously try to log in, and still the system should have decent performance. It will be a degraded performance, but it should not be very bad. Okay, and that we managed to get it for income tax. That's why it is exciting for me.
So now shifting focus to where all the tax money lands. We all know that the khazanas of Maharajas existed. We also understand there is a Khajane project of government of Karnataka. So could you tell us something interesting about
Yes,
that, since you were involved in that from 1998?
no, I think it's good, So you see, Khajane was a project, and the two underlying infrastructure was a state data center and state wide area network called SWAN. SWAN and STC provide the infrastructure for what is known as a treasury's computerization. And like in many other places, Karnataka has been the leader. So Khajane project obviously started in 1998. I'm privileged. I've been involved from 1998 till today. It's going through Khajane 1, Khajane 2, Khajane 3. What it does is, remember, government needs a lot of money. And government has to collect money, distribute money all over the state. These are all done in treasuries. Quite often, many of us may not even know where a treasury is. But remember, all the teachers have to get a salary. All the policemen have to get their salary. All the so-called Anganwadi workers have to get their salary. So where do they go? And then all the people to do PWD contractors have to make the payment. So these are the places where government's money in and money out happens. And what would be nice if on the day of the budget, a particular department gets an allocation. How does it get spent throughout the year? If we can have almost real-time, near real-time monitoring, so how nice it will be. And that is how Khajane started. And I can tell you this much, again, it's an award-winning project of Karnataka, government of Karnataka. And everybody, the several lakhs of employees get their salary on time, every time. Much more interesting, several millions of pensioners get their salary on time, every time, thanks to Khajane. So following Karnataka, every state has equivalent of a Khajane, and every state has an SDC, every state has a SWAN. And then we kind of evolved from Khajane 1 to Khajane 2 to Khajane 3, it's happening. So I'm saying, I think what is nice thing is government as a consumer of technology, these are all unparalleled in the world. I think that is what makes Khajane special.
Thank you, Professor. And the next question is on the banking system. Today we take online banking for granted. And we should also know that there was a lot of opposition from the bank staff unions when this was getting implemented. And could you throw some light on how it happened and what happened?
Thank you, sir. I think it is something which is kind of very dear to me for many reasons. I've been involved very closely with this. And many of you probably may not know, there was a time when bank unions went against any attempt to computerization. This was all in 70s and 80s. Come 90s, things changed because all the leaders of the union found to their surprise, their sons and daughters are working for TCS. And sitting in America, earning in dollars, they were sending money which was higher than their father's salary. So their attitude also changed. Okay? That is at the social side. But coming back, there was a bank scam. And we had a very unusual IAS officer called Mr. Nagarajan Vittal. He actually became he was unusual because he was the IT secretary, telecom secretary, became the chief vigilance commissioner. So he put a mandate in 2000. He said before 2010, he gave sufficient amount of time, 10 years, we achieved it much before. He said, in next 10 years, entire banking system must get computerized. And that is the reason why a lot of computerization happened, and unions also have kind of withdrawn their opposition. But much more interesting happened right in this town. A company called Infosys decided to also experiment with a software product called Finacle. There was a startup called iFlex, which came up with a FlexCube solution, which was a core banking solution. TCS decided to have a Banks 2000. 3 world-class core banking software products got developed to a large extent in Namma Bengaluru, and that changed the face. And ICICI was one of the first private sector bank to go for this, and Bank of India was the first public sector bank around 2003-04. But by the time 2007, all major banks have got their stuff computerized. Starting from 1991, because of another scam, government decided to set up. You have a beautiful building called National Stock Exchange. We completely replaced the stock broking set of servers. Okay, so we had online trading, and today it is the world's second largest in terms of value, first largest in terms of volume. So what an amazing stuff we have done. And last but not the least, we should realize that the 3 banking software products, Finacle, Banks 2000, and iFlex, which is now part of Oracle, account for more than 50% of the banking accounts globally. Every other banking account in the planet is controlled by software, which comes from this town called Bangalore. What a great feeling you have. Thank you.
So talking of the Indian e-governance space, what do you call as the bread, butter, and jam?
Okay, so this is something which internally we call it bread, butter, and jam. So something interesting happened. I think there was a very unusual officer called Pandeji, and so he used to be there. So there's one person who was in the banking, financial services, monitoring the whole thing. So 3 independent things happened. So Aadhaar happened starting from 2009. So every Indian, every citizen, every Indian could get an identity. Second thing was, even though we started in 1995, etc., but by the time mobile phones became affordable, accessible everywhere, reached, it probably took, I would say, again, 2010, 12, 13. Okay. So what happens is by around 2015, a good number of Indians had Aadhaar, a good number of Indians had access to mobile phone. This was unheard of before. And some people realized that large number of Indians did not have bank account. Said, why can't we have a drive to get more and more Indians get onto the banking? So something which was unheard of in human history, 600 million people got their bank account first time in their life. 600 million people. And what was amazing was this was managed like a project which was, it's like a space mission project. Week after week after week, it was monitored. Actions were taken so that things happened. So these 3 together, Aadhaar, Jan Dhan, mobile, change. But today we talk about UPI. UPI would not have been possible but for these, right? And a whole range of stuff. Today is so nice. You can go to remote corners of Bihar or Karnataka or Kerala or Gujarat, drink a cup of tea, scan a QR, and make 20 rupees payment. This looks like a magic, but the magic is possible. That's why we call it bread, butter, jam.
So related question, Professor. So what is special about Aadhaar and why is UPI important in Europe?
Okay. I think why is Aadhaar special? See, it's interesting. A lot of people will say United States had a social security number, even in 60s. Great. I think they had great stuff. But what people don't realize is the social security number is an identity number, but you can't really use technology to authenticate. But with Aadhaar, because the biometrics are actually captured, so without moving out of quote unquote your bed, you can still be authenticated. Okay, that is the power. Second, what people don't realize is we are the world's most populous country. So when I give the Aadhaar, so the next person who gets the Aadhaar, I have to ensure this is not matching with any of the other identities I had given earlier. As we grow from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 to million to 10 million to billion, so the complexity of deduplication increases. Dedupe is a huge operation, huge by any standard in the world. And for a country of our size, it is the ultimate, right? So deduplication we had to do, and we could actually give other identity to 1.4 billion people. And that is, okay. The second reason why UPI is so interesting is, so people will say MasterCard existed, Visa existed, okay. But what we don't realize is they all came when there was nothing called mobile phone. But UPI captured the fact that there is a 24/7 network available to the end customer all the time. And that made it much more workable, brought down the cost dramatically. For all practical purposes, most people get UPI free. I think that is because of, so one is the cost effectiveness, second thing is the reach and the sheer convenience. On the top of it, this is also the time when software industry has evolved, APIification has evolved. So people can build applications on UPI. We'll talk about it later. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. During COVID, India managed the vaccination process very well. This is our belief. And everyone was using COVID. What do you think is the secret of success?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's very hard to believe that a country like India could manage an operation like vaccination. Remember, we are talking of vaccinating 1.4 billion people. And remember, COVID was very unusual. It was not a single vaccination. It were 2 shots. And then there must be minimum gap between these two. You can't do it today and tomorrow. So you have to have a minimum of 3 months, not more than 6 months. With all that, so we could manage the whole thing through something called COVID. COVID is just not one app, but there's a lot of it. We'll talk about it later also. So what happens is people should be able to get a slot book. We should have the logistics. We had to monitor some 63,000 places. We had kept cold storage. We had to monitor the cold storage availability. And we have to ensure that we can't simply give an appointment, because by the time we give the appointment, we have to have the vaccination ready. We should have the nurse ready so that the nurse can actually administer it. And much more interesting, we also monitored surveillance post-COVID vaccination. What people do not know is there were a few hundreds of complications, but we managed all the complications well. We were actually tracking all those complications. So the whole cycle, that means reaching the vaccine, administering the vaccine, monitoring all was done with COVID. And that is what makes it so interesting. And remember, particularly for 1.4 billion people, and a significant number of people did not have to pay. I think that's the beauty.
Thank you, Professor. How is the global reception to some of the products and platforms in the e-Gov space?
I think the global reception has been very overwhelming. In fact, I have been again personally involved with MOSIP. MOSIP is a modular open source identity program project. And because a lot of people are interested in Aadhaar, but Aadhaar is a solution built for India as a closed form solution. So we just kind of took the whole thing, made it as an open source, and today making it available as a digital public good. Okay, 10 countries have signed up, couple of countries have already implemented, a few millions of IDs have been already issued. Not one, at least tens of millions. So it is so nice to see that, there was a time when we were always thinking of importing solutions. We are kind of building solutions and the world is finding it valuable. Same thing, UPI goes global. Already several countries have kind of signed up, and you will hear more about it when Prime Minister Modi is going to be in the United States. It's interesting.
Thanks, Professor. And you have been involved in many other e-governance applications. Can you share some thoughts?
Yeah. So I would kind of wrap up this one because I want to spend more time on the learnings. But people should realize that the most unexpected places, Tirumala Tirupati Temple, where I almost became the project manager for this project way back in 1999. We have a system called Sudarshanam, and 60,000 to 100,000 people get a what is called barcoded identity, which removes the burden of a physical queue into a logical queue. Instead of standing in a queue for a long time, you go there, you get an appointment, you come after 2 hours, you come after 6 hours, or whatever. You come at that time, they again scan it and let you go. And this has been working for 20 years, 60 to 100,000 people every day. I think this is, and remember, there is not a single penny charged from the pilgrims, and the Devasthanam is also not spending a lot of money. It's an absolute low-cost solution, a solution that works in the heat of Tirumala and Tirupati, which can be 40 plus, and quite often air conditioning does not work. That's something. FASTag is something which you people all use it every day. And what you people may not realize is it is not just for you and me who are driving a car. So many people are sitting using a public transport. They also benefit. You may say, what is the benefit? I'll tell you this much. Between Chennai and Bangalore, you save about 35 minutes because of FASTag. Because you are able to move much faster. And then for the goods, it is much better. If the goods move faster, the cost of transportation goes down. It benefits everyone. Your tarkari prices, your vegetable prices will be low. Your fruit prices. Thank you.
Some more questions on policy issues, Professor. Now, ChatGPT is the talk of the town now. What is your take on e-governance in the post-ChatGPT world?
Okay, so I think excellent. Request all of you to take a look at ChatGPT seriously. ChatGPT will make your life much easier. Because, particularly as government servants, lots of times you have to make a proposal, you have to make a proposal for the finance committee, you have to make a proposal for the planning commission, NITI, IO, for budget purposes, you need something for expenditure secretary, etc. Many of you have to spend hours and hours, because sometimes you may not have very capable secretaries, maybe because their salaries are much higher. Maybe if you're a CEO, you can afford one, but if you are a collector, you may not have one. So, but ChatGPT makes it much easier. So a lot of those reports you can generate in a jiffy. Okay, that is number one. Second thing is that you will find that a lot of times as IAS officers and civil service officers, you are expected to do projects for which you may not be trained. So earlier you have to kind of take much larger effort to look into it. But today you can again get it in a jiffy. Okay, so do look at ChatGPT. Don't look at it negatively. It will make, see, it's not going to take away your job. It will make your job far more efficient and you can do much more. I think that is what I want you to look at ChatGPT.
Thank you. So the next question is on what are the emerging technologies that we should look at?
Okay. So I think a whole bunch of them. So I can't really get into, okay. So we already talked about ChatGPT. Do take a look at the AR, VR, particularly the one which Apple launched on 6th of June. 6th of June, Apple had the WWDC, Worldwide Developer Conference, where Tim Cook, the CEO, launched something called Vision Pro. It costs an insane $3,500, right? But don't worry about that. Costs will come down. And remember, when iPhone was launched, it was $499. At that time, the typical mobile phone prices was $20, $30. So it was insane. But what happened was that one is the prices come down. Second thing is the value goes up. Today, the number of things which you can do on a mobile phone is far, far more. In fact, today, you have to ask this question. What is that you cannot do with a mobile phone? You don't ask the question, what is that I can do with the mobile? So something similar will happen. So I think AR, VR will be the big IoT. Okay, so particularly, monitoring the water level in so many tanks in the whole district. Monitoring maybe a rabbit, injection for the dog bite all over the health centers, etc. So these things will come in one app, you can just look at it. Okay, IoT will be the magic which will kind of enable you to build things like that. And of course, cybersecurity. So don't look at cybersecurity negatively. Cybersecurity, I always feel, as long as we use the word quality control, people did not accept it. Okay. The moment you said quality assurance, people accepted it. So similarly, cybersecurity provides the comfort that I can do things without worrying about it. I think that is what you need to look at it. I'm sorry, there are lots of things, but I just took only 3 of them in the interest of time.
Thanks, Professor. And could you give some thoughts on the lessons that you have learned so far and the lessons that we are in the process of learning
Okay.
from implementing.
Okay, I will take 3 applications and say what is that learning. I think Aadhaar, I think some of you probably attended Nandan Nilekani's master class. Right? He always mentions this, it's so important. The KISS principle. I think one of the key reasons why Aadhaar has been so phenomenally successful is Aadhaar stick to keep it simple, stupid principle, KISS principle. They said that, look, they will take the name, the gender, the date of birth, the address, and the biometric identity. That's it. They did not get into religion, they did not get into profession, they did not get into education. There's a lot of pressure for people to capture. But keeping it simple made it so useful. And it also takes away lots of things, it does not even get into the citizenship. They said we are an identity solution. Citizenship is done by passport, so keep it out. So I think laser sharp focus on the minimal things and keep it simple. I think mobile phone, many of you possibly might know. See, November 23rd, 1995, the first mobile phone ran. Shankdeep, from which city? From Calcutta. Yes, Kolkata. I think it was struggling until around 2004, 2005. One major policy decision, calling party pays. The called-in party does not pay. Incoming call, you don't have to pay. That made a big difference. But I think the reason why that principle was done was government looked at mobile phone not as a way of making money, but as a way of providing convenience to citizens. So if the larger objective is to provide convenience to citizens, don't look at, you need money to keep the country going. We need taxes to keep the country running. But the purpose is to keep the country running and you collect tax for that. The purpose is not to collect tax. Right? I think that was a clarity of policy. And I think JAM was very simple. Accurate monitoring on a day-to-day basis and not getting put off with some problems. See, a large country like India, when you take up a project involving 1 billion people, there will be projects. So, and there will be failures, there will be troublemakers, but you have to take them along. You have to get going. So nothing should put you off from the larger goal of achieving. Reaching 600 million bank accounts, new bank accounts is the goal. Come what may, we will do it. I think come what may, we will do it is a principle.
Yeah. So your thoughts on building solutions really fast.
Okay, so I think it is interesting. I will take this example of COVID. I don't know how many of you have noticed COVID was built in a couple of weeks, not 20 weeks or 30 weeks. Okay, so I don't get into too much of details, it's a little secret, but so 4 weeks it was built in 5-6 weeks, it kind of evolved, etc. But remember, COVID was not just one. So there was another stuff called EVIN, which was to do with preparing the whole thing. And then there was something called DIVOC from e-Government Foundations. I feel very humbled because I happen to be there from day one of part of the e-Gov Foundation. So DIVOC is the one which essentially ensured that you could manage the whole distribution. And then we also needed to have the certificates made available. And then DigiLocker was a great way of managing the certificates. And then, of course, we had an app, which is a surveillance. So what the key reason why we could build so fast was, don't try to build all again, all over again. Okay, assemble. I think today, thanks to the API-based assembly of software, it is possible to build software, essentially taking the APIs, putting it together. I think we should give credit to all of the key apps, DigiLocker to DIVOC. Those APIs were rich and nice. I think you need a rich and nice apps, APIs, so that we can build it fast. So today, you can build solutions. And remember, we are talking of solutions for 1 billion people. Population scale apps, population scale applications could be built in weeks. And I think last but not the least, not to appear jingoistic, but I think finally India got the confidence. We techies also now feel confident we can build it. Because there was a long time we thought we have to import. Now we can build it.
Professor,
Yeah.
Venkatesh, quick time check. We are
Yeah,
reaching
another 2
10.
minutes,
Yeah.
3 minutes, I'll wrap up.
Just
Perfect.
closing thoughts from Prof.
Yeah, so I'm almost done the closing thoughts. Okay, I think I would like you to have 3 important things. One is we slowly kind of got out of importing solutions. We can actually build solutions. Okay. Second, we can build solutions at Indian cost, solutions that work in Indian condition, and solution that will scale for population scale. Third, I think we also have learned a way of focusing on citizen-centric applications. Okay, not because we want to kind of build one, but because we want to make a difference. Because I think we all know a railway reservation. I still remember when I was a schoolboy or a college student, the kind of frustration I had to make rail reservation. Okay, standing in the queue, etc. But I think much more interesting, it is not only you and me, the janitorial staff, the ayahs, they can also do the booking just practically from their mobile phone. I think our ability to kind of build solutions at Indian prices for an average Indian, in fact, a less endowed Indian, at a scale and cost is something that is satisfying. I think that is what makes the e-governance so interesting today. So Purvi, I got it done in exactly 48 minutes. Thank you.
Yes,
so
sir.
now we'll take up
Absolutely.
questions. So thank you all for patient listening. And I hope you had some value in the last 40 minutes. And I will be open for questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for that fantastic presentation and superb timing. I cannot disagree with you. I would now like to invite our moderator for this session, Shri Prakash Kumar, who will obviously share the stage with you by posing the questions that we are receiving from our audience. Over to you, Prakashji.
Thank you, Purvi. Thank you, Professor Sadagopan, for that excellent lecture. We have multiple questions, but before taking that, I thought I'll also let you know, you talked about ChatGPT. In fact, immediately after its arrival, we created a course, short course, and we are conducting it at multiple ministries along with central and state ATIs. So I thought I'll just let you know.
No, but thank you so much. Thank you. Please do it. And I think it is important. You see, ChatGPT is as earth-shaking as the internet.
Absolutely.
It will take a while, okay? But it's still usable. So I think let us not worry about, will it do this, etc. I think, human beings, we know how to manage. So
Absolutely.
manage many, many things. We could manage a nuclear power. So we can. Yes, why not?
Yes. So, sir, first question is from Abhijit Bentigiri. He says, with all the technology advancements, we have seen a lot of modernization and usages in banking and payment industry. What has or is changing in core healthcare sectors with ABHA introduction? And what is your advice for health tech organizations to bring more value in this sector?
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you. Excellent question. I think it is important that whatever success we could do in payment, fintech, banking, etc., we should do it for healthcare. First and foremost, you will find AI will make deep inroads into AI, into healthcare. Once again, it is not that the doctors will become redundant. The same doctor will be able to kind of manage more patients. The same doctor will be able to give a much more holistic advice, because today he or she has to spend a lot of time thinking through, looking up, etc. But all these things will be done, okay, at the back end, so that, finally maybe a ChatGPT will give a report. By the time you finish the diagnostics and walk into the doctor's chamber, the doctor would have had an excellent summary of everything. He or she does not have to go through all of it. That is one level. The second thing is, I think thanks to IoT, I'm sure that, we are seeing Apple Watch and other watches do Android Watch and Samsung Watch thing. So we are able to monitor people, particularly a large number of, diabetic patients, etc. The biggest problem today is you have to constantly monitor. And remember, things do not happen like this. Things actually build up. Unfortunately, we do not know things are building up. And it's too expensive for somebody to go and give a test every day, etc. So monitoring will happen, constant monitoring. Third, you remember that coordinating between a simple blood bank was a big deal until yesterday. But today, every possible bank, whether it's blood bank or organs, etc., or maybe even availability of equipment, whether it is MRI, etc., I think it's going to be so seamlessly done. Just as you are actually booking for an Uber car or an Ola car, you should actually be able to say, where is the MRI available tomorrow between 12 to 2, maybe 200 kilometers or 2 kilometers from me. So something like that is possible. So our equipment utilization will go up. So obviously, for the same amount of money, we get much better care. So to sum it up, AI to give you better insight, AI to give you a big support to the doctors and other medical professionals, and AI essentially providing much better equipment utilization. So in a sense, we get more value for the money, you get much better care. And I think these are the two main things in healthcare, right? So can I provide better care to more people? Can I provide faster care to more people? Can I provide better care at low cost so that I can actually use that money for something else? Okay. So I hope I answered your question, Abhijit.
Yes, sir, you have answered. So the next question is from your field, sir. It says we are in the world of NEP 2020 plus emerging technology and now generative AI.
Yes.
Where do you see how effectively and realistically we are aligned with our task linked to larger objectives of education transformation? What is the single most focus that can help us?
Okay, I think excellent question again. I think, you see, I tell you, there are several aspects of NEP. I don't want to get into all of them. I think the one which to me is probably the most impactful is NEP recognizes the need for more and more interdisciplinary studies. And second, it also provides for a holistic way. See, I don't think that we should get too obsessed that a course must be 45 contact hours distributed over 3 hours over 15 weeks, and then it should cover X, Y, Z, etc. Today, the chances are a significant part of it, I'm not saying all, a significant part of it, you can actually direct the students to study and come back. So the notion of a flipped classroom is immensely possible so that you can use the classroom much better. Second, you know, yesterday in some other seminar, somebody was making an interesting comment that what was a PhD thesis 20 years back may actually be a homework project today. So what it means is, it is possible to kind of challenge the students much more than what we were challenged when we were in the class. I think that is second thing which NEP kind of allows you, because you can have a mix of online, offline, project mode, etc., etc. And I think if only we kind of get out of our disciplines, you know, a B school, a law school, a technical school, and a medical school coming together, I think we will find a much better solution to ethics in the context of healthcare in the post-GPT world, much better than any one of us doing it. I think that is what NEP provides for. But remember, you can only take the horse to water. The horse has to drink. So I think we academicians have been given the freedom that you can work across the discipline, work across the institutes, work across the country, work across the world. I think we should kind of take that opportunity and start running. So it is the ball is in our court. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is related to cybersecurity, which you touched upon in one of your slides. So this is from Aloysius and Prasanna. Two of them, I'm putting them together. In spite of excellent advancements in computer technology in India, why are bank scams happening? That's one question. Second one is, recently COVID data leaked on Telegram. What is your take on to arrest such practices?
Okay, excellent question, Prashant. Okay, so all that my request is, always look at some of these things in the larger context. Okay, so remember when we started, humankind took to flight. So there was lots of worries. And remember, there were a lot more accidents, etc. But today, accidents have come down significantly. But can you build a plane that is guaranteed not to fail, guaranteed not to have accidents? The answer is no. But remember, billions of people are flying, millions of flights are happening. Okay, we would like to have zero accident, but once in a while. So I think what a lot of times people don't realize is scam happens, the post-computerization. But what I would submit is many scams were happening. We did not even know. But today, in the technology world, you would know that scams have happened. Right? So relatively, it is much less. And things like leakage, etc. See, I mean, I am a philosopher at some level. I think thieves and police will always have competition. And my father used to have a very simple rule for the world. He said, look, Sadagopan, relax. The good Lord ensures that he makes only 1 out of a million into a rascal. Others are not. Right? There are not too many rascals which were created. But I think the world needs those rascals to make it more interesting. Otherwise, it will be boring. So my feeling is, I am a philosopher at that level. What I'm saying is, compared to how many things could have happened, what happened is much, 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 much more. See, what you don't realize is there are literally hundreds of millions of nodes, hundreds of millions of organizations which are participating in the internet commerce, right? In spite of that, okay, the leakages that are happening are once in a while. So I'm not justifying, but what you do is don't get alarmed simply because they are happening, okay? But I think every time we are getting better, we are getting better, we are getting better. So we will continue to get better, but I'm sure some smart fellow will still do something. This is my take on it. May not be up to your expectations, sorry, but this is my view. But in many of these things, there are multiple views. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I mean, we need to make our differences more stronger and stronger.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
Sir, we have a startup person here, Venkat.
Yeah.
He has multiple questions, so I'll take few of them here. He says, don't you feel like with biased social media, ChatGPT might give wrong replies, especially relating to our history and all that? So that's one question.
Okay, now let me finish this. Okay, see, remember, what you don't realize is, it is not that human beings are infallible, right? We also make mistakes, okay? I'm not justifying ChatGPT mistake, okay? And second thing is that even today, you see, you realize that, look at Google 2004, just 20 years back, okay? I don't know how many of you remember when you put a search, you will find absolutely crazy stuff coming together. I used to give this example to my students. Remember, what is the difference between Google and a core banking? Google, I tell you honestly, it is true. 1999, if you type IT in Google, it will autocorrect to idiot. Okay, so that is the level to which it was doing. Okay, but remember, you go to a bank, it does not give you some other person's account. If there are 10 transactions, 9 are yours, 10 is your neighbor. Doesn't happen, right? But in Google, we used to have completely irrelevant stuff. But 20 years, Google have improved a lot. Okay, and that happens because a lot of learning, more data, etc., etc. So similarly, ChatGPT also will become much better, much better, much better. But at the same time, ChatGPT is no God. Okay, it is as human. In fact, probably at this point in time, much worse than a human being. So it will make more mistakes. But I think what happens is you take a look at it, see, even when you are walking on a street, you go and ask somebody, I want to go to this place. Somebody will say, go this way, somebody will go this way. But what you do, you somehow make an intelligent guess and kind of believe one of them and go, or maybe take the second opinion. So similarly, don't take ChatGPT as the gospel. But ChatGPT makes your life so easy because it gives you so many things in an analyzed, condensed, prioritized version. So use your brain. Now you can use your brain much better than to search and all are all done. Make it easier. Okay, so that is my take on it. The second one.
The second one, he's looking for suggestions on the list of good set of programming languages and frameworks for developing citizen-centric population scale applications.
Okay, see, to be honest, I'm not the best person for that. So remember that, okay, I am 72, I'm an old man. Okay, so question is, I am not in the job of building apps today. Okay, I kind of look at many apps, etc., etc. Many tools are coming, but I think you should ask one of the, I think even in the IT, don't ask any IT person. You should talk to the architects. The architects are the only people who discuss the emerging tools and the frameworks. Okay, but they constantly evolve. But you will find enough information about it in places, so you can still Google and get it, but talk to an architect. So I'm not the best person. Thank you.
So this is a question from Sujit, which is about how technology can be used to transform Indian public procurement system. And the question is, corporate sector is massively transforming their supply chain operations through digital application. And they have the industry 4.0 best practices. How can the same be useful for digital transformation of Indian public procurement system?
Oh, okay. Sujit, okay. So I think you had asked a very interesting question. I am very glad you are concerned about it. And this is something which has been engaging our attention for the last 20 years. But I must admit, last 20 years, our pessimism has been proved wrong. Government has been doing a lot of interesting stuff. The ultimate example, you see, what people may not realize, twice vaccinating 1.4 billion people in about a year and a half in the form of a COVID-19 vaccination is a brilliant execution of supply chain. We managed it well. And in fact, this is more. It was just only delivering the vaccine. We also have to schedule a human being, because a vaccine must be administered by a living human being on another living human being. And the person who got the shot must continue to be living human being for the next 2 hours. So that is the kind of complexity we are in. Second thing is that agricultural supply chain is getting lots of attention. There are a couple of startups in IIT Delhi, IIT Delhi has now a research center in transforming agricultural industry. They even have what is called an ATM for ration supply. If you are a worker from Bihar, you could be working in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, anywhere, and using your Aadhaar identified ration card, you can get your ration wherever you are, thanks to the ATM. Those ATMs are being made. Okay, so how they will evolve, I don't know, but I think a lot of attention is happening, and government e-marketplace has been remarkable. The amount of stuff that you can do in GEM, government e-marketplace, so many institutions have been using it for last couple of years, and ONDC is happening. 2023 is going to be the year of ONDC, and we will give Amazon and Flipkarts and the Walmarts of the day a tough competition. So things are happening, but just wait.
Sir, these are some of those questions. What I wanted to ask you, sir, as a last your comment,
Yes.
especially for our young officers who are there, many of them, they struggle with, how do I conceptualize this? You talked about covering large number of people, smaller cost and more efficient, don't import.
Right.
But if they have to look for, many times we miss the problem. So how do we identify that? And then how do we go about, especially when you are in the state which are not having, every state doesn't have the right kind of resources, or especially on the technical terms?
That's an excellent question. So sometimes what you do is that start small, at the same time, without really limiting yourself to small things. Let me kind of explain. But you see, even when GEM started, so we thought that, we will possibly help in procuring 1 or 2 items for the government. We never thought we will be able to do such a large scale and scope. Okay. And remember, thanks to the cloud, etc., you don't have to be in Bangalore to do it. You could actually be in Bulandshahr and still also be able to do. Okay, so what happens? Location is not a big disadvantage. It will be a disadvantage, but not a big disadvantage. And what I find is that if you can really, in fact, my friends from MIT keep telling me, he said, look, Sadagopan, you guys are lucky. We have to scratch our head to think of interesting research problems. You guys just have to come and stand on the road. You have so many problems staring at you. So obviously, there are lots and lots of problems which are staring at you. I think, I tell you, in Bangalore, there is a crying need for managing traffic. We are not doing it. Okay, so you can find fault with so many people, but the fact is that we have not come up with a complete solution. So similarly, what happens is, you might be in a small town. Imagine you are in Banganpalli. Banganpalli is a town where Banganpalli mangoes come. But the question is, how do I increase the yield by 100%? So not 5% or 10%. And the moment you want to do something like that, you will find there are enough of horticultural fellows who have lots and lots of technology, enough biotech guys who have lots and lots of technology, enough cold storage guys, railways have special wagons, etc. But what happens? Somebody has to put it together. So what happens if you get it right, year after year, you make a difference to 100,000 families because their income will double. Much more interesting is the wastage will be half. And I think you will be solving a genuine problem by an Indian for an Indian. Okay, so think of something like that. But start small, stay focused, don't take the large picture. Okay, it may look very academic, but nonetheless it is true. Sorry, we are out of time, so we have to stop now. Thank you. Thanks, Prakash. Thank you for moderating the questions. It was a great help because I don't have to look at all the chat sessions and all. So I can focus on answering the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and agreeing to deliver this masterclass for us, Vadvani Institute of Technology and Policy and IIM Bangalore. Over to you, Purvi.
Thank you very much, Prakashi. Thank you so much for this wonderful, insightful session today, Professor Sadagopan sir. Interestingly, there were a lot of areas you touched upon, and it's brought in a lot of curiosity and enthusiasm among our attendees. In case there are any questions, sir, we will relay these questions back to you through email. Venkatesh coordinate. With your permission, we will also share this deck for all our attendees who would like to have it as a reference, sir. But thank you so much for adding so much insight and value. This has been an exciting masterclass, keeping the rigor going for the upcoming sessions. Thank you again. Also, a quick thank you to everybody who has joined us today. A big thank you from the CSITM team.
Okay, so I think we also should thank
WITM.
Professor Venkatesh. Come. And Sadagopan is the CISTM chairman. Yes, Center for
Fabulous.
Software and IT Management. Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Purvi. And
Thank you,
Prakash.
everybody.
Thank you. And thank the audience for more than 100 people. That's remarkable. I was not expecting beyond 30. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, everybody. Watch out for the next one. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.